I know we're all sick and tired of hearing about COVID and the pandemic and so forth, but hey, it's not just our planet that's facing a showdown right now. It turns out there could be a massive space rock headed this way that could cause a cataclysmic event, especially in light of the fact that we've already seen one such event happen in our own lifetime. We're talking, of course, about the asteroid that killed off the dinosaurs. And while that was 66 million years ago, scientists say there is a possibility that another asteroid could soon be barreling toward Earth. So today, let's talk about the chances of that happening. When and how will it happen? Scientists believe that there are anywhere between 25 and 50 asteroids with the potential to end life as we know it. That doesn't necessarily mean human life, but any complex life on the planet would be destroyed by these massive chunks of space rock. And if you think that's an exaggeration, think again. In February of 1980, an asteroid about 30 kilometers or 18 miles wide slammed into Jupiter's moon Europa and blasted a cloud of debris over 3,000 kilometers or 1,864 miles into space. In terms of an impact on Earth, NASA says that we have nothing to worry about for the next 100,000 years because according to calculations based on observations, no asteroids larger than a kilometer across pose a threat to Earth until then. However, NASA also admits that its surveys haven't been exhaustive, meaning that they might have missed smaller asteroids that could still do damage. One such object, known as 2021 GW4, will pass within 3 million kilometers of Earth in 2022. That may sound far away, but it's only about 8 days before it makes its closest approach. And although it's classified as a potentially hazardous asteroid, it's probably not a cause for concern. Most likely it will pass safely by. However, the issue is that with each passing year, more and more of these near-Earth objects, or NEOs, get closer and closer to us. This is why scientists from around the world are always monitoring space carefully. You see, space isn't as empty as it seems. There are billions upon billions of objects floating around up there, most of them small rocks that were left over after the solar system formed, about 4.6 billion years ago. Over time, these chunks of space debris have been crashing into planets and moons, causing mass extinctions and reshaping entire worlds. So how worried should we really be? Well, since the beginning of the space age, humanity has discovered nearly 27,000 asteroids orbiting the Sun. Of those, about 1,000 have been classified as potentially dangerous, because their orbit brings them close to Earth. These are the ones that scientists keep a careful eye on. The largest of these asteroids is called Vesta, and is about 525 kilometers, or 326 miles wide. Vesta, along with several other large asteroids like Pallas and Hygeia, make up what's called the asteroid belt, which begins at about 2.2 million kilometers from the Sun and ends at 3.3 million kilometers away. Although the asteroid belt does contain some of the largest chunks of space debris, it's important to note that most asteroids are actually quite small. For instance, the majority of the roughly 1 million asteroids that are smaller than 1 kilometer in diameter are located in the main asteroid belt. In fact, it's estimated that there are at least 500,000 asteroids that are less than 140 meters across. And these can pose a serious threat to our planet. According to the ESA, an asteroid that's 50 meters or 164 feet across could cause significant regional damage if it were to hit Earth. An asteroid that's between 140 and 300 meters or 459 feet across could cause global damage. But if an asteroid that's more than 1 kilometer or 0.62 miles in diameter were to smash into the Earth, well, we can safely say that it would be game over for all of us. Now, even though this sounds kind of scary, it's worth noting that these so-called city killers are fairly rare. In fact, in 2013, the world watched as a meteor about 20 meters or 66 feet across streaked across the sky above Russia. The explosion of this asteroid released a bright flash of light and shook buildings hundreds of kilometers away. But fortunately, it didn't cause any major damage. That's good news because events like this are becoming more and more common. Just consider that in the last decade alone, there have been over 1,600 near misses with NEOs. And that's just the ones that we know about. It's entirely possible that there are many more that we don't know about. As you might imagine, tracking down all of these space rocks is extremely difficult. After all, there are only so many hours in a day, and astronomers can only observe so much of the night sky at once. But as technology improves, we're able to detect smaller and smaller asteroids that are farther and farther away. And here's where things get really interesting. With the launch of the NEOWISE mission in 2009, NASA was finally able to begin scanning the skies for NEOs. Using data from NEOWISE and other telescopes, scientists estimate that there are about 32,000 NEOs that could pose a serious threat to Earth. But that number could grow as our detection methods improve. And that means that we may be discovering more and more asteroids that could potentially end all life on Earth as we know it. Although that may sound scary, it's also exciting because it means that we're learning more about our planet and its place in the universe than ever before. Just think about it. Every time we discover a new asteroid, we're one step closer to understanding the forces that shaped our solar system and our planet. And who knows, we one day will even be able to harness the power of these massive space rocks to our advantage. But for now, it's enough to just appreciate the beauty and wonder of the universe that surrounds us. The asteroid that killed the dinosaurs happened to be very large. But it wasn't necessarily the size of the asteroid that caused the extinction. Instead, it was the impact that triggered a series of catastrophic events that led to the demise of the dinosaurs. When the asteroid hit the Earth, it unleashed a tremendous amount of energy that vaporized the rock and soil around the impact site. This created a massive fireball that spread around the surface of the Earth, causing widespread fires. The dust and debris kicked up by the impact covered the entire planet, blocking out the sun and causing temperatures to plummet. This sudden cooling effect led to a rapid decline in temperatures across the globe, which in turn caused the extinction of many plant and animal species, including the dinosaurs. But it wasn't just the temperature drop that caused the extinction. The impact also caused massive earthquakes and volcanic eruptions that devastated entire ecosystems. The asteroid impact triggered a chain reaction of events that caused the extinction of many species. It's important to note that not all asteroids will have the same impact. Some asteroids are made of different materials that may not release as much energy when they collide with the Earth. Additionally, the location of the impact can also play a role. An impact in the ocean, for example, would cause a much smaller fireball and less dust to be thrown into the atmosphere than an impact on land. But regardless of the specific details, it's clear that a large asteroid impact could have devastating consequences for life on Earth. So how big of an asteroid would it take to cause the end of the world? Well, it's impossible to say for sure, but scientists estimate that it would take an asteroid about 10 kilometers or 6.2 miles in diameter to cause a mass extinction event. This size of asteroid would release an incredible amount of energy when it hits the Earth, causing widespread destruction and triggering a chain reaction of catastrophic events. Fortunately, there are no known asteroids this size that are on a collision course with Earth. However, there are some asteroids that are much smaller that could still pose a significant threat. For example, an asteroid that is just 5 kilometers or 3.1 miles in diameter could still cause significant damage if it were to hit Earth. While it wouldn't cause a mass extinction, it could still devastate entire cities and cause major disruptions to global systems. That's why it's important for scientists to continue monitoring near-Earth objects and studying the possibility of asteroid impacts. By understanding the risks, we can work to develop strategies to protect ourselves against potential threats. Who knows? Maybe one day we'll even be able to deflect an asteroid away from the Earth, ensuring the safety of our planet and its inhabitants. So what do you think? You worried about the possibility of an asteroid hitting the Earth? Or do you think that it's just not something to worry about? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Also, make sure to subscribe for more videos like this, and thanks for watching.